Y'all, welcome back. If y'all haven't met or heard of Kelly Bush, incredible, y'all. Just absolutely stunning music. Welcome back to Right to Rise. It has been a minute. I took a moment. This is a space for healers, medical professionals, any humans who know they are meant for more. I love to teach how writing is a healing modality that anyone can tap into. Writing to rise, and that means like into thought leadership. Um, Writing to rewire. I'm writing a book right now called Story Medicine about how we can literally rewrite our story and how we can change and rewire these neural pathways in our brain by writing and by changing the story, literally. Um, so I'm super grateful that you're here. I took a hiatus and took some time off, and now we are just absolutely rocking and rolling. Today we're going to talk about obviously something on my heart because that's what I do. I don't want to be here not talking about things on my heart. And I think that this is something that's on everyone's heart too. Like, I've been doing a ton of market research, and some of the books that I'm writing, busy writing two books of my own right now. And I do a lot of market research for the writers in my program. If you're not aware, Ho'ala Author Program is up and running, and we have had 8 women become published authors this year, which is massive. And they are out creating amazing communities and doing some really cool things in the world. And writing that book was, paramount to getting their message and their mission out there. So, super proud of that. But today we are talking about escaping the digital noise. I recognize that a podcast is digital, right? This isn't like a real, conversation, but hopefully this will help to let you see what we're headed into. I always like to give things that are digestible, that are value packed, and I hope that you find value in today's message. In fact, I think that you will, and no, I know that you will. So, y'all are feeling it. The collective is feeling it. I'm polling my audience. I'm talking to people. Y'all know I'm more of a grandma. If you've been here before, you know that Golden Girls is my favorite show. I love to knit. I make quilts. I make sock monkeys. I sew. Make my own candles. I'm a gardener. I live in Hawaii. I love to go for walks. And when I became an entrepreneur, I was told that, I had to spend hours and hours and hours on the internet nurturing this email list and getting leads and honestly, like, that kind of talk was really gross to me, and it hit like a visceral place in my body where I just reacted. And I've had conversations recently with other people that feel this way. Like, humans are not leads, we're not building your audience. You can't own your audience. Like, yeah, I see what you're talking about there, but that's such a like robot way to think about things. The people that come into my world, like, they're intentional. I don't want everybody in my world. And everybody's not going to get along with me. I'm not going to get along with everyone. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I think thinking about that, and then, you got to get out there and network. The word network in itself, in my brain, my neurospicy brain, is like, I'm trying to get out of the net. All these nets that we're in, right? Like, I don't want to be in a net. So, I just want to communicate with people. I want authentic communication. I want to hear your story genuinely. Like, I want to sit down and do things a little bit slower. And I realized, like, as people and these mentors and all these sales coaches that I was hiring were telling me to do these things, I was getting further and further away from my passion, which is people. I'm a nurse by trade. I'm a healer by trade. So being in community is massive for me. I had even fed into this identity. Myron Golden talks about this all the time. It's absolutely brilliant. But he says that we set up these identities or these lie identities where we convince ourselves that we are one way. And I had convinced myself that I was introverted. And when I took a deeper look at that, I'm actually not introverted at all. I used to put on plays with Lance Bass from NSYNC. I used to sing. I was in massive award winning choirs. Like, I'm not introverted at all. I had been wounded and hurt and told to shut up and sit down, that I was too much for so long. And this is the same story for so many women. Sit down, shut up, listen, and that's exactly what we don't need. But there's a way to rein all of this in and create from intention so that we're not just blasting things into the ether on social media and creating more ripples of noise. In my market research, I'm seeing, more and more books. Like, I publish through Amazon, and one of the first things that I do and before I write a book is like, is there a market for this? And right now, one of the largest markets on in bookstores and one of the largest markets of books is decluttering the noise. How to declutter, how to get off the internet, how to, return to a cozy life. Cottage core is like a massive thing. People are returning to sewing and quilting and creating and crafting. And these are all things that are away from digital noise. So I really try to help people, especially entrepreneurs in this space, realize that the market is shifting. We can use AI and we can use robots to do the things that we don't want to do. But as far as the creative work, the human work, the communication work, the stuff from our heart and our soul, that can't be replicated. So this episode's all about that. I just went on a tangent, but we're talking about the digital noise today. Every time you open your phone, before you even hit the ground in the morning, you've been bombarded by emails, text messages. Even your annoying alarm clock is digital noise, right? So, from the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with this. And then if you click into social media or something and you start seeing, like, you're starting to like step into other people's dream. They're out there creating, you're watching their reel, you're listening to their podcast. And everyone I'm noticing is suddenly a coach. I didn't even know that the coaching industry existed 3 years ago. I didn't know what that was about. I was just trying to get away from emergency cardiac medicine so that I could get off of a pager. And I knew that I had to leave that system so that I could heal and so that my body could heal, so that I could do the thing that really lights me up, which is taking care of people and really watching them grow, heal, and become, whatever it is that lights them up. But everybody now is a guru. Everyone's a coach. I'm looking around and there's people, in masterminds with me or in these retreats with me, and they've got like a certification in gut health, but they've got, they're making 10K months teaching people like basic stuff, and a lot of times this stuff is actually really harmful. Like, if you don't really know the comorbidities behind something, or hormones, or female hormones versus male hormones, you can really mess somebody up. And I think that's where the market is now. Like, people have bought into these programs, they've paid for these expensive courses, these expensive VIP sororities and exclusive memberships and mentorships. And these people have let them down because they don't understand that these tiny results, while they may be able to do this in 90 days, let's say, for instance, you pay for like a weight loss coach. You lose a couple pounds in 12 weeks, like they tell you, but in a couple months, you're right back to that weight, if not more, because they didn't teach you sustainable change. And that's not 90 minutes. That's not this quick pill that these gurus are blasting. So, yes, there's accelerated things. Yes, in my world, yes, you can write a book in 90 days, but not everybody does. And the ones that do, some of them are garbage books that'll just add to the noise. So, this is really about slowing down and creating intentional things that don't feel overwhelming, that feel good to you, that you feel good about talking about and creating. Um, this is slowing down the noise in your head and quit listening to all these people because your guide is inside of you. People they're exhausted, they're overwhelmed, they're burned out. Politics, there's noise everywhere. Why do you want to be part of that? We're living through what is called a trust crisis. We have now entered, there was a skeptical market last year. 2026 is now a trust crisis. That means we are in a zero trust market. That means that buyers have been burned by self-help gurus who've overpromised, underdelivered. I've fallen victim to this too. Well, I'm not a victim. I actively paid for that, and didn't do my due diligence of looking up who these people were. Y'all, people are tired of the shiny branding. I just got a message from Canva today, where 87% of people are like tired of AI generated content. They want real content they want to see the humanness in the content. And that goes with any written content, that goes to any digital, like visual content that you're creating. People are craving the imperfection and the humanity again, and genuine communication, genuine connection again. So the shiny branding with no credentials, no street cred. These people are this market is the wild wild west, and we're leaving that. We're now entering into a market where people have been burned by the digital noise. They are sick of the hustle and the performative authenticity. And if you're watching the trends, this is real. So the trust collapse online, Edelman's 2025 trust barometer found that only 42% of people trust influencers now or online coaches. That is down nearly 20% since 2021. Digital burnout. 2025 Pew Research survey found that 68% of online professionals say they would delete their social media if they didn't need it for work or their business. There is a massive analog comeback. Recent retail data shows that 73% increase in film camera sales. So that is a non-digital camera, not associated with your fancy iPhone. People want actual pictures now, something they can hold in their hands. There is a 50% rise in used typewriter sales. Typewriters, y'all. People are using typewriters again. And this is just the beginning. This is from a survey from 2022 to 2025. I'm interested to see what 2026 shows. Long form content, creator economy analysts like Jay Klaus are reporting that long form content, like storytelling, which I teach heavily, and live community are outperforming short algorithm chasing content. So those shorts, those, little digestible things, they're wonderful, and I still find a place for that. But more and more people are coming back to long form storytelling, and community, being in community. So I love that. Human first storytelling. I This is what my business really focuses on. I'm launching a book called Story Medicine: How We Can Heal Ourselves Through the Stories and the Narratives that we create. It should be coming out soon. I'm posting a lot of that to my Substack. There's 4 chapters up. You can read that for free on my Substack account, and I'll link that below. But Kendall Cherry wrote that AI fluff and copy paste brand voices are completely out. So, where people were thinking that like copywriting and things, those kind of professions were going away, people are actually leaning more towards copywriting and copy written by a human. They want to see that personality there. They want to hear the story behind it, right? Think about brands that you love. I love this brand called Siete. It's like an alternative to corn chips, and their story on the back is incredible. Like, I'm not gluten intolerant, but like, I love the story and I love the chips, and I want to give my money to those kind of companies so that they will continue to be a company that's out there in the world. Like, I love their product. I want to give my money to it. That is the mentality shift, and that especially with female consumers, right? Females make up 80% of the consumers in the United States, and we are emotional spenders. We're also becoming very discerning spenders, meaning that if the mom and pop bow place down the street is something that we absolutely love, we want it in our community, we want it to survive, we're going to give our money to them even though their pho is $16 a bowl, and this other mass corporate place over here is selling their pho for $8. I'm going to keep the mom and pop in business. And that is how I'm spending. That's how a lot of women are spending. Be smart about your dollars. This is true in the online space as well. If people like you, if they resonate with your story, your personality, then they're going to want to make sure that your business does well. I lean heavily on Substack. I publish through different platforms so people can have physical copies of something to take to the beach or to take on a hike or to go out in nature and disconnect from their phone. I create products that are tangible, that can tangibly make or break a moment, right? Like, they don't have to be online. I do create digital products too, because I think, why not? Like, I've also benefited from digital products, but I also lean very heavily on Substack. Y'all, Substack creators grew their paid subscriber base by 6 times from 2024 to 2026, with more professionals shifting from social media to owned written platforms. So this is massive. Um, you are seeing more thought leaders, more professionals, less gurus, less, of the influencers. Substack is really a robust system now, and I'm teaching how to use this system. You can launch your podcast, which I'm doing today, through Substack with virtually no equipment, no fees, no subscriptions. Um, you can do anything. There's discoverability through the Notes app. There is community. There's built-in community, y'all. This is cool. This isn't just a newsletter platform. This isn't just for writers anymore. This is for anyone that wants to do any kind of media, written media, audio media. You can diversify your content so that it is digestible for any type of learner, which is so important because we are moving more and more into a neurodivergent world. People's attention span is shorter, or you've got people that really really want to get off of the internet. So I actually print out my Substacks and I'll take them to the park and read them and have a picnic. But I have my printed out ones that I love. I have my coffee, and that's important to me. That's how I digest Substack. So, love to talk more about that. I'm doing a Substack summit in my school community. Um, if you want to join, it's Hoala Studio, and I'll link that below. We are doing some fun stuff in there. So people are over it, y'all. They don't want the AI bots. If you think about this, like every time I get on Facebook now, because I actually have people there that I love, want to see how people are doing. I know that there's real people there. And I go there for real, to sniff out real conversations with my friends. I live in Hawaii and I'm a Southern girl. So, the time difference is muddled, and that's one way that I connect with them, but I genuinely connect with them, right? Like I'll send them a message through there so that they don't get a text message at 12 a.m. But if you think about this, you can sniff out an email that's written by AI. You can sniff out a DM that's written by AI. A lot of people don't want this rapid action anymore. Like I delete all of that stuff. Like if you are a real human, I'm going to delete most of my emails these days cuz it feels overwhelming. If you are coming in hot into a DM and just, you know, giving your offer without any like warm up or hey, how are you, like I'm not here for that. I'm sorry, like I immediately delete that. These complicated funnels, y'all, what is happening? I've gotten to a place where like I would really like to buy this product, but then when they start clicking you through these funnels, like I'm done. Like I'll just click off of it. I'm like, I'll go to like the store and buy this thing. Funnels are fun, making more offers. I get it. The math is mathing, but also people are tired of it. Generic messaging. They want connection. If you're just doing this vague like chat GPT thing, which I get, I've used that in the past. But if you actually pay attention to what people click on and your click rate, or not even that, like how many times have you actually had a genuine conversation or connection through what you have posted? Was it created by AI? Was it not? Like pay attention to these things. When people come into my program, I ask them how many hours a week. We do a time audit. I'm like, how many hours a week are you spending on, social media, Facebook, content, any of this stuff, and how much of that is actually converting? And when you do a time audit, because one of their biggest gripes is, I don't have time to write a book. I don't have time to write a newsletter. And I'm like, you actually do, but it's going to take you thinking about this a completely different way and repurposing your time into more intentional places. So I see you on Facebook for 12 hours a day, clicking on everybody else's stuff. Like, can we repurpose an hour of that to writing a chapter of our book? You know, things like that, or creating a newsletter that is actually SEO searchable. These are how we repurpose our time into more intentional products and services that will actually serve our business as evergreen pillars in our business. Um, People want real humans, living, teaching, breathing humans, right? Like anybody can, they can use Chat GPT, they can use Claude, they can do all these crazy things, but like, what can you do as a human that's different than that? Um, they want to stop being content creators and start being storytellers. I'm seeing more and more of this, which I love. Um, I don't know if any of y'all know this, but like in Hawaii, we say talk story, which means like, I'm clearly not native, but my partner is Hawaiian, well, Japanese Hawaiian. And talking story means talk to me. Tell me about your day. Tell me about yourself. And it is a very like quintessential part of Hawaiian culture to share and to sit in community and talk and tell story. And if you look at that from a tribal aspect, that storytelling is how we've learned everything throughout history. It's how we learned anything about humanity. It's the original way to communicate was through stories. So, um, and I've seen in my own work coaching nurse coaches, clinicians, and healers, the ones who are thriving are not the ones shouting on Instagram. If they're on Instagram, they've learned how to create that content and drip that content so that it is blasting to wherever they want it to go, but they're very intentional with their time. They're repurposing. I've got so many women now in my that have written books, and they're just pulling teachings from that book, frameworks from that book, and they're repurposing that into their community. It's brilliant. You just repurpose what you have already created, right? You're not having to spin your wheels, having to figure out what to say and when to say it. Just pull from your book or your already written content. So these women are going to start and have already started to see their businesses boom. They're the ones that, have written the books. They're publishing thoughtful newsletters. They're building communities. They don't think about nets and leads and like all these fishing terms to like have a conversation with a human. This is where people feel safe, and that's where we're headed into. So I joke around a lot. I teach grandma marketing. It's not mass marketing. It's like what your grandma would do, like how did Tupperware become such a massive household brand? Well, there were moms that went door to door and had conversations with other moms that were like, hey, are you tired of your food running, bad, going bad, getting bacteria? Like, use Tupperware. Um, y'all, this still works. It's brilliant. And I teach that in my school community. Come on in. I'd love to teach you some grandma marketing and what's working for me and what's working for others. And this is where people are first. The relationships are first. Your clients are first. Respect is here and first. Like, you can not everybody is for me. I get that, but like I genuinely love having conversations. If I can help you, then I will. If I can't, then I'll find somebody who can. And that's who I am, right? And my mom taught me that. I think it's just Southern. So right now, you're starting to see though the massive shift. I just talked about this. Buyers are smarter. We're coming out of the wild, wild west of the coaching world. We're going into more regulation. People are looking for certifications. Gone are the days where people can teach. Oh, well, if you can just get the results, then people don't care what you did. That's not necessarily true anymore. So, if you are in the health and wellness space, and you've seen it, Brene Brown actually stepped away from the health and wellness and self help space. She has quit talking about stuff like that because she sees how absolutely toxic it is, and how there are very well intending people, but who are misguided and not well informed and not using evidence based science practices. Um, they're using just, one in particular that I'm thinking about that absolutely broke my brain this week is seeing somebody with a gut health certification, which is like a couple hours on the internet certification that they can print out. Um, Teaching people that they can cure their brain by praying. Specifically, she's leaned into the ADHD world, and she's teaching people that they can overcome ADHD and neurodiversity by praying to Jesus. Um, I'm 43. I pray to Jesus or pray to God or, the people up there all the time. And I still have ADHD. And I think that this is very misinformed and harmful. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. We cannot continue this path. So, if you are in medicine, if you are a well intentioned, credentialed being, like, we've got to get you to cut through this noise on the internet. You have to use your voice with intention. You have to learn how to make things that and do things in your business that rise you to thought leadership and help you be seen as the expert that you are, because you are. I went to 8 years of nursing school. I trained in cardiac medicine. Like, I can put a human back together. Like, and I know so many incredible women. I have nurse practitioners, doctorates, like people in my world who are drowning out from these influencers, and it's got to stop. So that's what we're doing inside of Ho'ala Studio. I would love to invite you there. If you don't know, Ho'ala means to rise or to awaken in the Hawaiian language. And this to me means that you rise into your own power, your own purpose, your own voice, and use it for the greater good of all people. So Ho'ala Studio is a playground for you to learn and experiment and find your voice and learn what lights you up and learn what your purpose is and tap back into that. I am not the guru. I am not the expert. I'm just a guide that can lead you there. So, yep, digital. I know, sorry about that, but I am really truly trying to teach people how to bring people back to the human touch. How do we market? How do we connect? How do we create with real humans, right? How do we make this less confusing without a 24-step funnel? We are going to teach you how to run a lean business. This means that you can do this, you can afford this, and it is incredibly efficient and lean and not overwhelming and something that you love. I teach you Substack because it is a full media ecosystem now, y'all. This isn't just about a newsletter or an email list. It is an incredible platform to help you grow and to make those connections. You can post, you can record, you can podcast, you can build community, you can collaborate, you can make recommendations, which is an affiliate program. It's so, so smart. And I love that it taps into old school. There's people there. You don't need 10,000 followers. You just need a handful of people that genuinely love what you're creating and want to be part of your movement or your mission or, perpetuate the work that you are doing out there in the world. And this works. You can publish something very real every week that is SEO friendly. People can find you on the internet in your own voice. You can start building genuine trust again. So this week, I want you to ask yourself, if I wasn't allowed to use social media ever again, or if the internet goes down, God, y'all, we have been without power for almost a week and a half here in Hawaii, and I didn't have the internet, and I did not freak out. I just surrendered to it, and I it actually wrote and just tapped back into my own creativity. But y'all, if none of these things existed, how would your business survive? How would you communicate with people? How would you get clients? How would you pivot? So, if the answer is no, I wouldn't survive. No, I don't know how to survive. Awesome. That just means that you have room to plant something deeper and to learn something. And Ho'ala Studios for you. And you don't have to start over. You don't have to rebrand. You don't have to learn anything else. You don't need any more certifications. You just have to start by taking an inventory of what's already inside of you, what you can teach people. What are your stories? What have you been through that other people haven't been through? What's your expertise? What's your healing work? We build products that don't expire when an algorithm changes here. We write a book, we start a Substack, and we build real community. So I want you to think about ways that you can stop adding to the noise and start creating spaces that feed people's souls. Because right now, the ones who get quiet, the ones who take intentional time, the ones who realize that their distraction is their destruction, and that if they can take a couple weeks or months to intentionally focus on products and things that will actually build their business, they're going to be the ones that get ahead in this 2026, 2027, 2028 market. They're not going to be adding to the digital noise. You're not going to be drowning anymore. Those are the ones who are going to rise. So this is Right to Rise Collective, y'all. This is the new me. Just kidding. But inside every episode, we're going to be rewiring how we write, how we teach, how we build meaningful businesses. And if you love this conversation, I'd love for you to hit follow, send me a message, or if you can review it, that'd be dope too. Share it with your people and come join us inside the Ho'ala studio. I genuinely can't wait to meet you. I will be the one reaching out to you. So be patient. And until next time, stay blessed and never stress.